Agüeybaná was more than a leader. It was the living embodiment of dignity, resistance, and cultural sovereignty for the Taíno people of Puerto Rico. His name, meaning the Great Sun, reflected his radiant authority as the principal Cacique, or paramount chief, during the crucial years of first contact with the Spanish in the late 15th and early 16th centuries. His domain stretched across the island's southern coast, and under his leadership, the Taíno lived in a harmonious balance with nature, sustained by cassava farming, fishing, and the spiritual traditions that guided their lives long before Columbus ever stepped foot in the Caribbean. When the Spanish first arrived, Agüeybaná chose diplomacy over war. He greeted Juan Ponce de Leon in 1508 not with violence, but with the open arms of Guatiao, a sacred ceremony of mutual respect and name exchange. In Taíno culture, this ritual forged a symbolic bond of kinship. Agüeybaná offered gifts, guidance, and labor to the newcomers not out of weakness, but out of a deeply rooted tradition of hospitality and a belief in reciprocity. At first, this exchange seemed peaceful. The Spanish praised Agüeybaná's wisdom and used his cooperation to establish their first settlements on the island. They renamed San Juan, but this moment of peace was a mask for the storm that would soon follow. The Spanish were not content with coexistence. They began to enslave the Taíno, forcing them into brutal labor in gold mines and plantations. Agüeybaná's people were subjected to hunger, disease, and punishments unknown in their world. Still, Agüeybaná tried to hold the peace. He hoped that diplomacy could protect his people from annihilation. But in 1510, everything changed with his death. While the exact cause remains unclear, some say he died of natural causes. Others suspect betrayal. His passing triggered a shift in the spiritual and political balance of the island. His nephew, Agüeybaná too, stepped forward, but this younger leader would not extend a hand in peace. He would raise a fist in resistance. Agüeybaná too, also called El Bravo, would go on to lead the great Taíno revolt of Viuyu, but it was the elder Agüeybaná who had laid the groundwork, establishing a centralized leadership among the scattered Yukieks, or Taíno villages, and building a foundation of unity that would outlast him. He had witnessed the devastation wrought by the Spanish, but he never gave in to hatred. Instead, he sought understanding. His tragedy was in underestimating the greed of empire. His legacy was in planting the seeds of rebellion. The Taíno people believed in the Zamida spirits of nature that governed the world, and Agüeybaná was seen as a spiritual intermediary, a figure who connected the living with the divine. He presided over Cahoba rituals, guided his people through hurricanes and harvests, and ensured that justice was kept through oral tradition and communal wisdom. When the Spanish began to burn sacred objects, banned Taíno ceremonies, and dismantled their temples, it wasn't just an attack on politics, it was an assault on the soul of the island. And even though Agüeybaná tried to keep the peace, he never surrendered his identity. In his final years, Agüeybaná is said to have watched the gradual transformation of his homeland with sorrow. The forests where he once hunted now echoed with the clank of Spanish armor. The rivers where children played now ran beside mines, where those same children toiled as slaves. And still, he held on to the dream of coexistence. His belief in diplomacy is often misread as naive, but it was a powerful form of resistance or refusal to become what the invaders expected. He chose dignity over destruction, but even the most peaceful river can give rise to a flood. His death marked the end of an era, but his name lived on, Agüeybaná II's revolt was a fire sparked by his uncle's legacy. The uprising shook the Spanish colonists and reminded them that the Taíno were not passive subjects, they were sovereign people. Though the rebellion was eventually crushed, it forced the Spanish to reconsider their treatment of indigenous populations, and it echoed across the Caribbean as a call for resistance. Today, Agüeybaná is remembered in Puerto Rican schools, plazas, and monuments. His name is a symbol of pride, a reminder that before the conquest, there was culture. Before the gold rush, there was wisdom. And before colonization, there was a sun that shone in the hearts of a free people. Streets and schools bearing his name reflect a continuing effort to reclaim the narrative. For too long, the stories of colonizers drowned out the voices of those they subjugated. But Agüeybaná's memory endures, not because he conquered, but because he led with courage, diplomacy, and unwavering cultural identity. Agüeybaná's story invites us to ask deeper questions. What does true leadership look like? Is it measured in victories or in the values we uphold under pressure? His reign teaches that resistance can take many forms. Sometimes it is war, other times it is wisdom, and sometimes it is simply refusing to let the world define your worth in the face of Spanish cannons and cruelty. Agüeybaná met them not with fear, but with the strength of his ancestors and the love of his people. Though he did not live to see the revolt that bore his name into legend, his spirit lit the torch that others would carry forward, and in that torch, the sun still shines. Follow for more history they'd never taught us in school.